This is such a weird time right now. It's been a weird year. When I created this channel about a year ago, my intent was to provide analysis and commentary on the actual games going on in the NFL and the NBA. Now, naturally, it started out slow at first, but after 6 to 8 months, and after I took it from audio only to video on YouTube around April, the channel started to gain a little bit of traction. Then something happened. Both leagues started to go down this path of embracing social justice politics, otherwise known as Marxism or communism. I'll be honest with you guys. When I posted my first video predicting that the NBA would experience a massive ratings decline due to their embrace of social justice, I expected to receive a lot of backlash. I didn't think it was going to be a popular opinion. At that time, 2 or 3 months ago, I thought I was in the minority. I thought it was just me who hated the fact that my favorite sports leagues were going down this path of no return. Now, I was pleasantly surprised at the reaction from you guys, the positive reaction. Looking at my comments and the analytics, 98% of you guys agree with me. There is no place for politics in sports. Not only that, you guys agree with me that political position both the NFL and the NBA are taking, to be quite honest, is un-American. I've been at a crossroads the last couple of months on this channel. I don't want to be political. I don't want this to be a political channel. The reason I post these videos about the NFL and the NBA is to give you guys something to talk about, something to escape from everyday life, something fun, not serious. I'm a small channel. I'm just getting started, kind of finding my niche. The reason that I've been at a crossroads is because, as bad as I don't want to be a political channel, my most popular videos the past couple of months have been when I've criticized the NFL and the NBA for being political. And it's just not what I want to be. I don't want to be the political guy. There are a lot of other sports channels on YouTube that post daily videos, sometimes twice a day, about the ratings decline in the NFL and the NBA being due to politics. They generate good numbers. Their channels are growing. But is it really sustainable? What happens when things go back to normal? My point is, you have to have substance. You've got to be able to lure people in during normal times. Basically, you've got to know what you're talking about. And for long-term success, you got to be able to break down sports and give analysis and commentary that makes sense, analysis that people care to talk about. The problem right now is so many of you aren't watching the NFL and the NBA, so you don't care about the analysis. You don't care about what's going on the field or on the court. The purpose of this channel, the reason I'm here, is to make videos that you guys want to watch and talk about. And right now, because the NFL and the NBA, more so the NBA, have put us in a position to where we have to talk about politics and sports in the same sentence, that's the topic that's generating the most interest. So here we are again, talking about why the sports that we love are ruining themselves. And judging from your comments, the kneeling for the anthem, some of you guys could get over that. A lot of you guys did get over that. Now, was it disrespectful? Yes. Did it piss a lot of you off? Yes. But a lot of you got over that. But this infusion of social politics, racial politics, social justice, straight up Marxism into our sports, many of you are pissed off to the point where you're not watching. I'm still watching the NFL. I'm still watching the NBA. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. The only reason I'm watching the NBA right now is because I have this channel and I talk about it. A week ago today, I came on here talking about the woke NBA and how the media was criticizing Charles Barkley for comments he made on the Breonna Taylor case. Comments which, us normal people thought were sensible. Whether you agreed with Charles Barkley or not, the comments that he made weren't radical. He was just stating his opinion. He shouldn't have even been in the position to be talking about the Breonna Taylor case in the first place. The last time I checked, Inside the NBA on TNT was a commentary and analysis show about NBA basketball, not social justice politics. In that video last Sunday, I predicted that we were going to see the lowest ratings for the NBA Finals in the history of the NBA. Now, I didn't need a crystal ball or some psychic like Miss Cleo to tell me that. All it took was common sense. One, the matchup between the Lakers and the Miami Heat isn't what I would call a sexy matchup. The Heat have zero mainstream stars. Going into that series, no one gave Miami a chance to upset the Lakers. What the NBA really needed was Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks to take on the Lakers. They needed Giannis first to stay the hell out of politics, which went right out the window when he led that ridiculous boycott in the first round of the playoffs. If Giannis would have stayed out of politics and made the NBA Finals, I believe people would have flocked back to the NBA. And the reason I say that, and this is my second point why I predicted the NBA Finals would tank, people really want to see LeBron James lose right now. They want to see him knocked off. LeBron James has become the biggest pariah to middle America. People are sick and tired of this promotion of Black Lives Matter. And when I say that, I'm talking about the organization, not the slogan. People are tired of LeBron James ruining the NBA with social justice politics. I feel like if there were a star like Giannis going up against him in the NBA Finals and had a chance of knocking off LeBron, people would have tuned in to watch it happen. That's just not the case. As predicted, the ratings for the NBA Finals have been nothing short of disastrous. I wish I could find a stronger word to describe the state of the NBA right now. In terms of popularity, this is the least popular the NBA has been in my lifetime, 35 years. Game 1 of the NBA Finals Thursday night was the least watched NBA Finals game in the history of the NBA. 7.4 million people tuned into ABC to watch what is supposedly the NBA's biggest draw on LeBron James chase his fourth title. That number was down 45% from Game 1 last year between the Raptors and the Warriors. In the span of about 16 months, LeBron James has found a way to run off over 6 million people not watching the NBA that watched just last year. LeBron chased off more viewers than people that watched Thursday Night Football the other night between the Broncos and the Jets, which drew about 5.5 million people. A meaningless NFL game between two teams that are essentially fighting for the number one spot in the draft, with quarterbacks that no one cares about, was watched by only 2 million people less than Game 1 of the NBA Finals. I'm going to get to the NFL ratings more here in just a second, but let me just tell you, the NBA is in trouble. I have been hammering this point for 2-3 months now. The NBA is in trouble. They have dug themselves in a hole so deep, I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of it. But you wouldn't know any of this if your only source of news was the mainstream media. No, you are not going to hear ESPN or Fox Sports 1 talk about the declining popularity of the NBA, the bad television ratings. You're not going to hear this on Yahoo Sports, who has spent the entire playoffs making excuses for the NBA's ratings decline. Excuses like, oh, the NBA ratings are down because the playoffs started in August. That excuse doesn't make any sense. The ratings should have been up because they were playing in August. The month of August is a dead time for television. You're running unopposed to new TV series. You're running unopposed to the NFL. Not to mention the fact that America was supposedly starving for live sports since we hadn't had any since mid-March. This was a prime opportunity for the NBA to grow their audience. Instead, They sold their souls to far left politics, and now they're paying for it. Another excuse I keep seeing: ratings are down for everything on television. It's all the cord-cutting millennials. It's their fault. Once again, this excuse does not work for the pathetic media. Ratings aren't down for Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity on Fox News. They're setting ratings records. Ratings aren't down for the NFL in some cases. We'll get to that more in just a second. It's not cord cutting. It's not the time of year. The one and only reason that ratings are down for the NBA is because people are fed up with being called racist by millionaire athletes. People are fed up with being preached to politically by the NBA, by athletes who in most cases have no idea what they're talking about. See, what I don't think LeBron James and the NBA realize, they are being used. They're being used by the far left because they believe that these NBA players had some social influence because of their platform, and that the majority of Americans would just follow guys like LeBron James or Chris Paul right off the social justice cliff. Well, it turns out they were wrong. Turns out most Americans are like you and me. Me personally, I'm an independent. I don't like Republicans. I don't like Democrats. I lean more liberal on social issues. I like the Republicans for economic issues and taxes, things like that. That's about it. But what I don't like, and what most of you watching me right now don't like, is professional athletes turning themselves into Rush Limbaugh and telling me what I should believe politically. We watch these guys to play basketball, to play football at the highest level. We don't give a damn about their political beliefs. There's a reason the majority of businesses in this country don't allow political discussions at work. Well, all businesses except the NBA and the NFL. I have told you guys from the beginning that the NBA didn't have the leeway on this issue that the NFL does. For one, the NFL is not nearly as political as the NBA. And two, people may gripe about the NFL. They may complain about the kneeling for the flag or the two national anthems that were played during week one. But at the end of the day, we in America always come back to the NFL. Week one ratings were down for the NFL, but ever since, they have been trending upward. Through 3 weeks, ratings across the NFL are down just 5%, not 45% like the NBA, just 5%. However, there's another huge difference between the NBA and the NFL ratings. There hasn't been a bright spot in terms of television ratings for the NBA since the playoffs began. There hasn't been an uptick here or there. It's just been a straight decline the whole time. That's not the case in the NFL. Monday Night Football between the Chiefs and Ravens, up 32% over last year. Cowboys Seahawks last Sunday afternoon on Fox. 23 million people watched. Now, you won't hear any of this in the media. You'll hear Sunday Night Football on NBC, ratings tank. Thursday Night Football, ratings tank. It's weird because the media has a different definition of tanking than I do. To me, tanking ratings are a 45% decline, like what we're seeing in the NBA Finals. Packers Saints on Sunday night was down a minuscule 4%, but it was watched by almost 18 million people. Thursday Night Football ratings are down double digits, but that's not because the NFL is declining in popularity. That's because they're serving us a steaming pile of garbage every Thursday. Who the hell wants to watch Dolphins Jags or Broncos Jets? By the way, there have been a couple of NFL games postponed this weekend because of COVID. In a way, I understand. The league doesn't want the liability issues. They got to be cautious. I get it. But on the other hand, it doesn't make sense to me. Postponing a game because Cam Newton came down with COVID. Tell me this. Has an NFL game ever been canceled because a player had pneumonia or the flu? If a player gets COVID, put him on the injured list, quarantine him, whatever you got to do, keep it moving. The NFL's always been a next man up league. Player gets hurt or sick, next man up. I get that Roger Goodell's being cautious. And in this political climate, I suppose you have to be. But it doesn't mean I have to like it or agree with it. I'm so sick of these damn politicians. I feel like if we got rid of most of the politicians, that the problems in this country would just disappear. They have infected our sports leagues. And it's been nothing but problems ever since. This is why I keep saying politics don't belong in sports. Anyway, let me get off my political soapbox. Didn't mean to go on that little rant. I have told you guys that the NFL has big advantages over the NBA because of gambling and because of fantasy football. But there's also another major advantage the NFL has over the NBA right now. And no one's really talking about this, which is strange because I believe this is the biggest problem the NBA has right now. The NFL has relatable star players. We relate to guys like Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson. We're pulling for rookies like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. We like guys like Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, even coaches, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton. Who does America relate to right now in the NBA? Name one superstar NBA player that the majority of Americans can get behind, can relate to. The league had a prime opportunity this week with Rudy Gobert, and they blew it. Rudy Gobert came out publicly, and they blasted the Chinese government for forcing Muslims into concentration camps. To my knowledge, he's the first and only NBA player to speak out against the Chinese government and how they treat their citizens. Now, what did Adam Silver say about this? What did LeBron James say about it? Did they come out in support of Rudy Gobert and his statements? Of course not. Can't do that. They make too much money off of China. We can't speak out against human rights violations. They pay us too much money in China. Now, wait a minute. For 3 months now, the NBA has been relentless in speaking out against supposed human rights violations here in America. Alleged racial discrimination at the hands of the police. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but how come they're not speaking out against the same thing happening in China? In China, the people being racially profiled over there are innocent. They're going through real racial discrimination. It's not a case of a dude being chased by the police, stealing their taser and shooting them with it, and then losing his life because the cops shoot back at him. The Muslims in China were living their lives innocently and were targeted by the Chinese government because of their race and or religion. So where's the NBA? Where is LeBron James leading the charge against the Chinese government? He wants to get rid of systemic racism, right? Well, here is a prime example of systemic racism. And LeBron and the NBA are silent. Rudy Gobert brings the issue to the forefront. The only NBA player to speak out against it. And it's crickets across the league. It is the definition of hypocrisy. It is the definition of a double standard. The NBA is bowing to kiss the feet of a communist regime in China, while at the same time calling America a racist country. Well, I got news for Adam Silver in the NBA. Without America, without you and me, the NBA does not exist. I got news for LeBron James. Whether you like it or not, the majority of your audience is white middle America. They're not racist. And me saying that is not a racial thing either. It's a numbers thing. White people make up 65, 70% of the population. Obviously, there's going to be more white NBA fans than any other demographic. It just makes sense. Back in the 80s and 90s, the NBA was full of relatable stars. Players America loved. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson. I could go on and on. I'll say it again. Right now in this present time, name one NBA player that is universally loved in America. Now, obviously, it's not LeBron James. Giannis, nope. Ruined that with that boycott. Anthony Davis, nope. Doesn't have the charisma. Steph Curry, maybe Steph Curry, but he hasn't played in a year or so. Kevin Durant, nope. A lot of people turned on Kevin Durant when he left Oklahoma City for Golden State. And he didn't do himself any favors with his behavior after he left. He was once one of the most beloved players in the NBA, but that feels like decades ago now. Kyrie Irving? I mean, that one doesn't even need an explanation. You get my point, though. Instead of the NBA being full of players that America loves, the NBA is mostly full of players that America doesn't like. And in a star-driven league, that's a recipe for disaster. It shows in the television ratings. Again, the NBA is in trouble. In my lifetime, I have never seen the league in the predicament that they're in right now. A predicament they created for themselves. They should have known better. They saw how the country reacted to the Colin Kaepernick situation with the NFL 4 years ago. If millions of people stopped watching the NFL over something political, then what in the hell made the NBA think they would be able to dive into politics and not suffer declining ratings? It brings me no joy talking about this. In my life, the NFL has always been 1A and the NBA was 1B. It helps me when both leagues succeed because more people will be interested in my channel and my content. Like I told you guys earlier, the most popular videos I've made the past couple of months has been this topic right here, the declining NBA ratings. When I bash both the NBA and the NFL for woke politics. The message is clear. You guys have been sending it. You guys don't want politics in your sports. I feel like Zion Williamson is the only hope for the NBA right now. LeBron James is on the back nine of his career. Actually, he's on the 17th hole. He's still playing at a high level right now, but how much longer can he do that? At this point, I don't even think it matters because I believe a lot of people would prefer LeBron to just ride off into the sunset, retire. Clearly, people have no interest in watching him capture his 4th title. The NBA desperately needs Zion Williamson to stay out of the political arena. They also need him to stay healthy, and he's got to win. But he's the only player in the league right now with any kind of crossover mainstream appeal. If Zion Williamson doesn't pan out, I don't know what the NBA can do to regain the millions of people that they have lost. If you guys have a solution, let me know in the comments below, because at this point, the NBA is 6 feet under and dirt is being thrown on the grave. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Tell me this. Are any of you guys watching the NBA Finals? Are you watching the NFL this season? Also, tell me I'm wrong. If you know of a relatable NBA superstar, someone who America can get behind, tell me who it is, other than Zion Williamson. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Have any questions, a topic you'd like me to discuss, you can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.